I still remember the moment I walked into our apartment and something felt off. It was too quiet, too clean, and there were 2 wine glasses in the sink. We hadn't used wine glasses in weeks. One of them had lipstick on the rim. Not mine. I don't wear lipstick that bright. And right next to it, a black lace bra. Just sitting there on the arm of the couch like it belonged. Like I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I stood there paralyzed by a storm of realization, rage, and humiliation. Everything we built, the life we planned together. It shattered in one silent moment. He wasn't even home. Of course he wasn't. That made it worse. He had the audacity to cheat and then leave behind the mess. Like he couldn't be bothered to even clean up his betrayal. My name's Claire. I'm 28, a junior associate at a law firm downtown. I work long hours, but I loved it, the structure, the challenge, the sense that I was building something real. I met Ryan 2 years ago at a networking event. He was charming, confident, real estate sales guy with an easy smile and a way of making everyone feel like the most important person in the room. We hit it off almost instantly. Within 6 months, we moved in together. Everyone said we were the power couple, the ambitious lawyer-to-be and the smooth-talking real estate star. But there were cracks. Little things. Text messages he'd hide. Nights he'd come home late without explanation. Once, I found a gold bobby pin in his jacket pocket. I don't use those. I confronted him back then. He laughed it off, told me I was being paranoid, that I was stressed from work, that I needed to relax more. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him, because I loved him. Despite the doubts, despite the signs, I clung to the version of him that he sold to me in those early days, the caring, passionate, devoted partner. And so I stayed. I ignored the whispers in my gut. I brushed off the red flags. I told myself that love was messy, that no relationship was perfect. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, until that night. That damn wine glass. That bra. That silence. That was the night Claire, the forgiving, soft-hearted girlfriend, died, and someone else woke up in her place. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I didn't even call him. I just stood there, staring at the bra on the couch like it was laughing at me. That night I packed a bag. Just a few things, my laptop, some clothes, my toothbrush. I didn't take anything we shared. Not even the mug I loved. I left him a note. Not a dramatic one. Just a line. You left something on the couch. I left everything else. I moved into a short-term rental across town. Small. Plain. But it was mine. For the first time in 2 years, I could breathe without adjusting myself to someone else's rhythm. I didn't post about the breakup. I didn't tell mutual friends. I disappeared quietly. But silence doesn't mean surrender. I started gathering, not my emotions, evidence. Because the thing about dating a narcissist, they always leave trails. I accessed our shared online storage. Photos, receipts, chats. He hadn't bothered changing the password. Classic arrogance. I found dinner bookings for 2 on nights he claimed he was working late. Hotel receipts under his name. Photos of her, the girl in the bra, in MY apartment. But what really broke me wasn't the cheating. It was how casual he was about it. Like I was disposable. Like my pain was just collateral damage in his little game. He didn't call to check on me. Didn't apologize. But 2 days later he posted a picture of himself with her. At our favorite rooftop bar. Holding her waist. Wearing my shirt. That's when something inside me snapped. Not in a violent way. Not even in a vengeful way. More like surgical precision. Cold. Clinical. Calculated. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to destroy him. But legally. Thoroughly. Elegantly. I pulled out every financial document we had. Cross-checked transactions. Found payments he made using our shared funds to buy gifts, jewelry, lingerie, even a spa weekend. I had him. Financial misappropriation. Civil liability. Maybe even fraud. But I needed more. I needed him to trust me one last time. So I waited. Quietly. I made no noise. I let him think I was processing or healing or ghosting. Narcissists always assume silence means weakness. Meanwhile, I drafted documents. Built a timeline. Created a full legal package. I even called in favors from senior attorneys at my firm. He had no idea. He was too busy playing house with his new toy. But soon he would learn something crucial. You don't screw over a lawyer, especially one who loved you enough to remember everything. 3 weeks passed. Not a word from me. Not a peep. And then like clockwork he texted, "Hey, been thinking about you. Can we talk?" I stared at the message for a full minute. Then I smiled. The game had officially begun. I replied the next day. Casual. Light. Sure. When and where? We met at a neutral cafe. I wore beige. No makeup. No jewelry. I wanted to look soft, tired, human. Someone you could still manipulate. He showed up in a crisp shirt, expensive watch, fake concern plastered across his face. "You look different," he said. "Life does that," I replied. He launched into a monologue about how lonely he'd been, how things with her didn't work out, how he missed me, how no one understood him like I did. I listened. I nodded. I even touched his hand at one point, because I needed him relaxed. "Maybe," I said, "we could talk more. Slowly. Start fresh. But there's something I need first. Closure. Something official." He leaned in. "Anything." I slid a folder across the table. "These are just some papers I need signed. Just to clear up some stuff. Financials, apartment, the boring adult things." He didn't read them. Of course he didn't. Narcissists rarely do when they think they're back in control. He signed. 3 pages. Each one a small blade I'd spent weeks sharpening. We parted with a hug. He smelled the same. That same cologne that used to feel like home now made my skin crawl. I waited until I got home. Then I poured wine. The expensive one I'd been saving, because tonight I'd officially taken back power. The papers he signed, they acknowledged misuse of shared funds, assigned him sole liability for the apartment lease, and authorized full access to his transaction history for audit. I had legal grounds now, not just moral ones. I built a case file and submitted it to the firm's senior litigation team. Quietly, one partner called it cleaner than most corporate disputes. Another said, "This is art." Within 2 weeks, he received a notice of formal proceedings. Civil liability, damages, financial penalties. He called, left voicemails. "What is this, Claire? Why are you doing this?" I never responded, but I did send one thing. A copy of the note I left that night. "You left something on the couch." I left everything else. Except now I was taking back everything that was mine, and maybe a little more. Revenge didn't feel loud. Felt precise. And it felt good. The day he received the lawsuit, I imagine his world paused. I wasn't there to see it, but I could picture it perfectly. The envelope thick. The sender our law firm. The expression on his face. Probably disbelief at first, then panic. He called 5 times that night. I didn't pick up. I wasn't going to offer comfort, not anymore. Instead, I reviewed the updated filing with a glass of wine. My lawyer, the senior partner who once mentored me, called it bulletproof. The court documents laid everything bare. Misuse of funds, breach of trust, intentional emotional harm. Attached were screenshots, receipts, witness statements. A timeline that unfolded like a slow-motion car crash. Every detail captured. His lawyer tried to counter, claimed it was a personal matter, not worth litigation. My team responded with a 47-page rebuttal. And then the real collapse began. His brokerage firm found out. Turns out they don't love employees with open civil lawsuits, especially financial ones. He was temporarily suspended, which quickly became terminated. His face was scrubbed off the website within days. Word spread. Our mutual friends, the ones I hadn't spoken to in months, started reaching out. "Claire, is it true?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Truth has a way of speaking for itself. One night I got a message from her, the girl from the couch. Just 2 lines. "I didn't know. I'm sorry." I didn't respond. Not out of cruelty. Out of peace. I'd moved past needing anything from either of them. The lawsuit settled out of court. He agreed to pay damages. Significant ones. Enough to cover rent, therapy, and maybe a vacation or 2. He also issued a written apology. Not because he meant it, but because my lawyers made it non-negotiable. And just like that, it was done. No explosions. No screaming matches. Just closure. On paper. With stamps and signatures. Some nights I still think about it. Not with anger. With awe. At how quiet revenge can be. How satisfying silence becomes when it's filled with power. People think revenge has to be loud. Explosive. Messy. But the best kind? It's methodical. Precise. Surgical. And when you're done, you don't just win, you evolve. In the weeks after the settlement, I watched from a distance as the dust refused to settle around him. His reputation? Gone. His job? Gone. His online presence? Quietly vanished. People whispered. Clients pulled out. Mutual friends drifted. No one wanted to be associated with a man who made headlines for all the wrong reasons. He tried to spin it, of course. Claimed I was vindictive, unstable, even obsessed. But the paperwork spoke louder. Facts don't scream. They don't threaten. They just stand. And they stood against him like pillars in court. One of our old couple friends reached out months later. Said, I always thought something about him was off. You were just too good at covering for him. And maybe I was. I protected him from scrutiny, from judgment, from the consequences of his own actions. Until I didn't. As for me, I didn't rise from the ashes. I walked out before the fire ever reached me. I went back to work, quietly but steadily. I moved to a new apartment, decorated it slowly, intentionally. Every item mine, every color chosen with care. I started therapy, at first to process the betrayal. But soon it became more about understanding my own patterns, why I ignored the red flags, why I stayed. Healing isn't loud either. It's not grand or dramatic. It's a quiet Tuesday morning when you realize you haven't thought about him in days. It's reaching for your favorite mug and knowing no one else ever used it but you. It's laughter at dinner with friends. It's music in the kitchen. It's walking past a place you once cried in and smiling instead. Some say revenge is best served cold. I say it's best served with silence, signed documents, and a smile that says, I never needed to raise my voice to win. What happened to him after that? I don't really know. I stopped tracking. I stopped caring. Because this wasn't about destroying him. It was about reclaiming myself. And in doing that, he just happened to collapse on his own. So if you're reading this and you've been betrayed, let me say this. You don't have to scream. You don't have to burn. You can rise calmly. And trust me, when you do, the silence will echo louder than any scream ever could. So that's my story. Not the loudest. Not the most dramatic. But maybe the sharpest. I didn't set his car on fire. I didn't post screenshots online. I didn't make a scene. I just let the truth do its work. If you've ever been hurt, blindsided, left wondering if you were crazy, let me remind you, you're not. The people who manipulate, cheat, lie, they rely on your silence. They depend on your softness. But soft doesn't mean weak. Quiet doesn't mean powerless. And walking away, sometimes that's the loudest thing you can do. I'm not perfect. I held on too long, forgave too much. But in the end, I didn't burn down, I rebuilt. And maybe, just maybe, someone out there needed to hear that today. If you've made it this far, thank you. For listening. For feeling with me. For holding space for stories like this one. And if you've ever had to walk away from someone who shattered your trust, I hope you know, you didn't lose. You just finally stopped playing a game you were never meant to lose. Until next time, take care of your heart. And remember, quiet doesn't mean weak. It means focused. And focused people, they always find their way back to power. Enjoyed the story? Hit subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and drop your own silent revenge moment in the comments below, backhand index pointing down. Because sometimes the best revenge is simply rebuilding stronger.